It's been fun and it's been exciting, so I can't wait to see what's in store for today.
Surrendered 4 runs in 7 hits, but you, Therese, 13, 10, and 1 in the American Athletic Conference. Wichita State's won earlier this season. 7-3 was the final up in Lawrence. This one slapped to left, but it's a line out to Ellie Eck. 15-2 being the final. Slager. Got the green light on the 3-0, but it ends up being the third out for Kansas. Wichita State's turn to the plate when we return. Ellie Eck, Lauren Lucas, Taylor Solachik. First 3 to open up the offense for Wichita State. Eck ends up popping it up, and Souls is there for the catch. Well, we've noted just what this type of contest means for people. Solachik, second pitch she sees, and it's a ground out to close inning number 1. Good stock athletically. Dad Tom played football. Mom Shauna played volleyball at Washburn. Here's Bruno showing off the power. A laser, a low line drive that ends up clearing the wall. And Bruno makes it home run number 11 on the season to give Kansas a 1-0 lead.
Just a powerhouse. That looked so effortless. It was kind of low, little bit middle out, and she just drove that thing. But, I mean, Bruno's just an impressive player. Being able to pitch and hit, you got to be extremely athletic. You don't see that too often.
Stopped at first base, but she got just enough underneath it. And that raw strength, you just saw it, being able to get that one over the wall. Next one up for KU. Fouls it off. 2-1, lifted, shallow right field to go. Solachek backpedals to make the catch, 1 down. Souls with some contact on the first swing, and she ends up getting Kansas. When you look at the starting lineup, you do have a couple of seniors in there, but they do have some freshmen that were named to a freshman watch list. 6 freshmen came in, 4 of them named to a watch list, giving hope to Kansas for the future. Chance for a double play, out recorded at second, and the stretch to complete the job by Compton.
The pitch right there. She's thrown that a couple times. Looks like it's a little bit of an off speed, and it tricks you up because her arm does not slow down whatsoever.
Compton was trying to go the same spot where Bruno went for the home run. Not enough distance behind it as Linda State ended up logging 5 hits against the Charlotte 49ers, including a pair of home runs. This is a hot shot down third base. Epperson rounding first, easily reaches second. Jody Epperson really starting to hit her stride down the stretch for Wichita State. Here's Gabby Scott, the freshman catcher. That one goes as a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. She drove in 2 of the 7 runs for Wichita State in that win against Kansas. And as you brought up, the batting average or in her offense, but we need to call upon her inside the circle. She can deliver. Levonic waited on it. Ends up being skied in the air. In the series, you have Wichita State just snapping a 3-game losing streak. Well, you have Wichita State before losing 3 in a row. They won 3 straight in 2022 and 2023. 10 or so games. It's not just one-sided off the end of the bat for Natalie Marshall. And there is Solachek. 10 wins in Big 12 play. That was the most since 2001. Been a long time for Kansas when it comes to conference wins. Then there's Wichita State. Shockers have always been rock solid over the years. Last year making it all the way to the American Athletic Conference championship game. Starting third baseman for the Jayhawks. Lays down the bunt. Here comes Nelson charging in, and she makes the throw in time. Stafford tried to sneak one by. Last year started a 35 of the 37 games she played. Takes it to the right side of the infield. An easy play for Solachik. What would have been a hit for the Kansas City Roos. Hood does like to try to lay down a bunt for infield singles, but Kansas was well aware.
And then all of a sudden she just started going off, and that's just what she does. I mean, she's a good player. She's able to come back from adversity. They're not really slow by any means, anyone. But some are obviously faster than the others, but they're sending everyone. They said, you know what? We're going to go for it.
5 home runs. Drove in 9 for Wichita State.
Be even put in the same realm as her is, you know, something really impeccable. And I think that Lucas deserves it. She has worked her butt off and, you know, produced in many, many ways and come back from adversity.
For KU, I know you have the 2 walks surrendered, but for the most part, she's been great. Solachik ends up driving one to left, but it ends up being hauled in by Limbaugh, and the threat is over. 2 runners get on, but the KU this year, 21 and 24. Last year, ended up winning 28 games. First pitch, snagged by Compton.
Seems like Compton is really on with her defensive work.
Well, after getting that one at first, behind with 9, and here's Bruno skying this one. Epperson thought that one had some more life to it. Makes it a full count.
You know, you talk about how ECU came back, they got 70, WSU has 69 in it. I think that just goes to show how competitive the American is.
Compton driving this one to left, and there is Cameron Compton to tie up the game at 1-all. Compton with her 11th home run. There's number 70. We're knotted up at 1. Was the only one to get a hit for Wichita State, with that 1-out double back in the second frame. Ripped one down the third base line. This one, she just tries to flare it over the shortstop, but Kripe hit her. Only 9 Ks. This one's a slow roller. Kripe with enough arm strength to come up with the second out. Not a lot of pop for Levonic in terms of power, but just a truly consistent hitter. But has been the designated player all throughout the year. She swings her. That one got a piece, but it was caught by the catcher, so she goes down swinging. Made a stretch for a double play ball back in the second. There's also a tough throw by Kristen Nelson back in the third. Ava Wallace, one of those freshmen I was telling you about earlier. Charlotte for the number 4 spot. 2-2. Tough play for Epperson, but she is able to rate. Well, the way that it was hit just made you wonder if there was enough to keep it up in the air. Turns out there was. 2-1, chased after it. There's Nelson with plenty of time. A combined 5 hits at this point. And both runs coming off solo homers. Hood at 11 home runs, which I'm sure is going to move her up in the rankings for the Big 12. Hard not to focus on that one particular area. Nelson grounds out to first. Eck ends up getting this one to left field. And there's Limbaugh ranging over that way from her center field spot. Hasn't exactly been in this situation as Flanagan taps it foul.
As a freshman coming in and being as successful as she has been, I don't think it's going to throw her too much. It might actually give her a little bit of a refresher, a little bit of extra spice, because she's been pitching so much and she's
When the Cowgirls, who are ranked, fell to Kansas. Neihart dips this one outside the zone, and it's back-to-back walks surrendered by Neihart in relief. So with 2 on, Lenduff is showing bunt. Nelson takes the out at first, but the sack. Senior cool, calm, and collected for Kansas. On deck, 3-2. Kripe ends up popping up to Sammy Hood.
A 3-run home run, so looks like they're giving her outside, outside, and outside.
The last 2 pitches were well outside, and Gabby Scott says, okay, we're just going to go ahead. First one there ended up being a strike, but then the next decision from the dugout was to not mess around with Olivia Bruno. One, two, put in play, and Sammy Hood let it go off the glove. That scores 2 for Kansas. And the Jayhawks reclaim the lead. Took a high hop. Souls went after that one and popped it high up in the air. Goes right to the big building.
I mean, I'd rather put it in play every day than strike out a whole bunch. So, you know, she did a job there.
This one, tough play. It's fielded by Compton, but they say it ends up being a foul ball just to the all throughout the year. Just like that, Riley Neihart does get the call on the outside corner. Top half of the 6 is done, but the error scores 2 Jayhawk runs. In a Shocker uniform. Total bases, she's up to number 10 now in a Shocker uniform with 328. 1-2, Lucas waiting on it, but it's Kripe who plucks it out of the air for the first out here in the bottom half of the 6th. Just looking at Bruno, just her facial reaction. She is very much wanting to close the door here and go the distance. There's Solachik, though. She got it by the glove of Stafford. Solachik takes off for second and slides in safely. Right after the scoreboard. Gets way underneath this one. Kripe calling everyone off, and the shortstop gets the second out for Kansas.
You know, that's their plan. That's not bad, but
Epperson rolling it. Kripe there for the throw, and she gets the job done. That was the Kripe inning. Very well, could disrupt everything by getting the W here. But they're looking to add to the 3-1 advantage that the Jayhawks have with the 7, 8, 9 hitters dealing with Riley Neihart. First pitch grounded by Wallace and Kristen Nelson. Now Marshall going to the right side, and there is Lauren Lucas. Here's a solid drive to left, but there is Ellie Eck. Hopefully everyone's okay. Gabby Scott lined that to right, and you heard the reaction. Hopefully everyone is okay there. Gabby Scott, who really was the hero against Kansas. But today 0 for 2. Brooklyn Levonic, who set the follow, also 0 for 2. Scott lines one to the hot corner. Stafford's there. Levonic lives to see another pitch. She is one of 3 strikeout victims to Bruno. Levonic just tried to roll one, got by the pitcher, and Levonic is able to leg out a single for Wichita State.
I told you, she's feeling herself.
One. Sammy Hood trying to take a deep breath. Can she come up in the clutch for Wichita State? She puts it in play. The out at second. No double play turn. At-bats before. Last year came up big multiple times. She waits on this one. This could end it. They throw it to first, and it goes off the glove And that allows Sammy Hood to go over the third, just outside of Wichita. 2-1 way upstairs for Bruno. Maybe Bruno ready. Outside, and the bases are loaded.
Lucas does have that barrel underneath her now.
Lucas turns on one, but she was just out front. Lauren Lucas goes after the 0-2 and lines it foul. Needs to add to it for WSU here. This one bounces away. Marshall, disaster. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down, bases loaded. The pitch. It's downstairs, and Wichita State Bruno has really been following the bobble over there in left field. Bruno is definitely amped up because we haven't seen her miss all that. Solacek has had a good eye all season, sitting with 26 walks. Make it 27 as we're tied up at 3. Had a solo home run back in the 4th. Has a chance to be the hero. As we see Katie Brooks, who's in to replace Olivia Bruno.
That's going to be different for those hitters.
1-2, not a terrible place to go after. 2-2 up the middle, off the glove for Brooks. Tough play, but the out is made at second. 3-1 the Limbaugh. Up the middle it goes and rolls by Sammy Hood. She shows bunt again. And Nelson will gladly accept the out, but another sacrifice bunt. Although on the attempted stolen bag, will take all that long to officially confirm this because it sure looked like everything was fine. And she is safe. Has only elevated her game here for this season. However, it's the freshman Neihart who
today on the mound. I mean, she's obviously
one, 2. Nelson will just go ahead and put the foot on third base. And then it ended up being Bruno. But glad we get a chance to see her, and Jody Epperson really had no chance with that at-bat.
A great amount of movement on it, so you pair that with the speed. I mean, she's just blowing it past them.
2 appearances against Oklahoma State. One was a win, one was a mercy. Kansas has been dialed in. Scott taps that one foul. Pitchers this season. Scott puts it in play and dribbles it by a diving second baseman. Gabby Scott, the freshman, with her first hit of the day.
To really get that timing down, especially with that shift from Bruno to Brooks.
Well, Brooks instead, it goes for the outside corner. Sammy Hood swings through. And the 6th, top half, as we see the first pitch swung on and hit to the right side, and a Souls. State would get 2 back-to-back bases loaded walks to send us into extras. We have a pinch runner coming in, and Maddie Hayes at bat number 61 for her. That's 12 hits. They're going to throw over the second. The throw looked like it was potential. Sitting with 16 runs batted in. Still going to show a bunt, and this one does get by Gabby Scott, and that allows Hayes to get a little bit closer. 7. Marshall in the gap, and that puts Kansas on top. Marshall rounding first and sliding in safely. Marshall coming up with the big knock for K. Well, but good for Neihart to at least get the second one here at the top of the 9th. Try to slow down Limbaugh, who just throws the bat at the ball, and it ends up dropping. The throw's not there, and Kansas now leads by 2.
Do anything for the hitter's batting average, but it is so crucial to get down those bunts.
2-2 lifted up. Fired. Jason Kemper says no dice. 2-2 inside corner, and that goes as a strike. And Nelson with a little stare down foul the home run, with Lauren Lucas coming to the plate.
In this game.
2-1. Ends up going the 1-2. Solacek holds back. 3-2. Solacek smashes it the right. Eck speeding all the way to the third. And Solacek (2-1). Compton goes after that one, but there's Limbaugh for the snag. And Kansas outlast Wichita State's 5-3 W.